Today is a Southern special recipe for a sweet potato biscuit. It is delicious and it's going to be great for all of your holiday needs. Whether you want to put this with a holiday brunch or dinner or even just a midnight snack, this is going to be delicious. Come on into the kitchen. It's Paula. I'm going to help you put together the most amazing biscuit recipe. I think you are going to love this one. Today we're starting off with sweet potato. I have two small to medium sized here. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna equal up to. All I need is about a cup of mashed sweet potatoes for this recipe, but I'd rather have more than less. If I have any extra, I'll let you know, and if I do, this will go into pancakes or oatmeal for the kids for breakfast. So I'm just gonna start by going ahead and peeling these up. And then for this recipe, I'm actually going to boil the sweet potatoes until they're soft as opposed to baking them, just to save time, but you absolutely could bake it. It makes it really soft. I'm doing a large dice on these. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna mash it down. These don't take as long to cook as regular potatoes, so a large dice is fine. Or large chop, I should say. Okay, I'm just gonna fill this pot, just covering the potatoes with water, and then I am going to boil this on high until those potatoes are soft. Okay, I'm looking at it now, and this is definitely going to be more than a cup, which is fine. Like I said, we will find a way to use this up. If all else fails, my chickens love most things. So give it a good smash, and then I'm going to take a cup out to reserve for these biscuits. I think that's good enough. All right. All right, got about a cup here, and it looks about maybe a half cup left. So I would go with maybe a large sweet potato or two small ones. Okay, I have my trusty food processor here, but you could totally do this by hand. Look, I actually just got this food processor about a year ago. I've always done biscuits, breads, and pies by hand up until now, but I'm just trying to get through this one a little easier. So going in, I have about 2.5 cups of flour. Trying not to dust myself with this. And if you hear anything in the background, happy kids at play. Y'all know I got 6 kids. They are waiting on these biscuits as we speak. All right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of my dry ingredients. I have some baking powder. Don't worry about the measurements. I'll have them listed in the description box for you. Got some cornstarch. I don't usually add cornstarch to my regular biscuit recipe, but for this one, it is a great addition to kind of help with the crispiness and airiness of this sweet potato biscuit, because the sweet potatoes in itself could make it dense. All right, I have some sugar, a little salt, and then I'm just gonna give this a mix before we add everything else. So I'm just gonna pulse it on low. All right, that's good enough. Now I have a stick of butter. I just sliced this I know some people do cubes. I kind of like to slice it. I think it kind of goes more evenly. So I just cut it in half and sliced it. And then I just left that in the freezer while I was getting everything else together. I do tend to like butter for my biscuits as opposed to shortening, but specifically in this one. Give this another whirl. Kind of break this up a little bit. If you're doing this by hand, cut your butter in with the pastry blender, or guys, I've done it with a fork. It'll work just the same. Now to this, I have a cup of the mashed sweet potatoes, which is the star of the show, going in. Give it a little help along here. And then I'm gonna add about half of my milk, and I'll add the other half after I get this going. The key to a good fluffy biscuit is just not to over mix. I'm just gonna scrape the sides, make sure all of my flour is being distributed throughout here, and then I'm gonna add the rest of that milk. Okay, what I'm looking for is to kind of scrape the sides. It's gonna start to kind of form a ball, and that's how I know that most everything has been incorporated. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this out, and then we'll roll us some biscuits. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and spread some flour out. Start it lightly, and my counters have been disinfected. I also like to flour my hands. And then I'm gonna go ahead and flour my rolling pin, and I have my biscuit cutter. And these things are very convenient, but you can, if you don't have one, you could just do your dough and cut it into squares. Perfectly fine. They're delicious and beautiful presentation that way as well. But I like to keep these on hand. I just bought a whole set, and I'll link it. It has like a ton of different sizes, and I use it for donuts, hand pies, just a very versatile thing to have in the kitchen. But I love biscuits, so definitely have those. So go ahead and turn this out. And I'm gonna try and leave it all in a ball together so I don't have to mess with it too much. I love homemade biscuits. When I was growing up, I only ate the canned biscuits, and I don't know, maybe I never liked them, or maybe I just ate them too much growing up. But yeah, that's one thing I will not eat. But I will eat a homemade biscuit, and these sweet potato biscuits are just over the top. Like, they're perfect for brunch, like a nice holiday brunch, or dinner, a good lunch. I mean, they're really versatile. And you can sweeten it up how you want to. Serve it next to a soup. I mean, yeah. So some accompaniment suggestions there. All right. Now this is looking a little sticky, so I know I need a little flour. Gonna sprinkle the top. And then I'm gonna form this in a little ball. Again, trying not to mix too much. but I do know I need some flour. I don't want this to be overly sticky, so I got a good amount of flour here, which is fine. I'm just from here and I go ahead and roll this. Now I like these to be pretty thick, so I'm going about an inch and a half. You could even go 2 inches here. They do puff up some though in the oven, so keep that in mind, but I'm not a fan of a flat biscuit, so here we go. Now here, when you press in, don't twist, just press. And then you can grab it, and then we're gonna go ahead and add it to a dish. Now here I have a pie pan that I've already buttered. I like to add mine into a pie pan as opposed to a baking sheet, because the closer they bake, the higher they bake. So I like them to be high and puffed up. So there's a tip there. And I'm just dipping it in the flour and then pressing onto my dough here. Take this out, make it easy for me to grab the rest of those. And then of course, I'm not gonna waste anything, so I'm gonna roll this back up and make more biscuits. But for now, let's grab these. Get the help of my spatula to help me scoop these out. All right, I got one pan ready. I'm gonna get ready to get this one in the oven, and then I'll get the rest of the biscuits going in a different pan. Just gonna give a little knead here, just so that my dough comes back together and I don't have too many lines in it. As you can see, I'm still gonna go with the same thickness, and I should be able to squeeze a couple more biscuits out of here. Biscuits are ready to go. I have my oven preheated at 350. The last thing that I'm gonna do, again, just to elevate this and to give me a good brown crust on the top, I am going to add my cinnamon honey butter. Now you could also add an egg wash on top of here. That would be perfectly fine, just depending on what you have. But I will go ahead and link the recipe to my cinnamon honey butter, because it is such a delicious accompaniment to these biscuits. I just let it melt for a little bit. And then I'm gonna get these in the oven and bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. The sweet potato in these biscuits really helps the flavor and the texture. It's very, very moist for these biscuits. Now I serve this with a piece of ham and my cinnamon honey butter. I really think you will enjoy this. And if you do, like this video for me and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to turn on the notification bell.